I moved into my first own apartment in St. Petersburg a few months ago. How I live here, what I pay, and how that has changed under sanctions in Russia, you'll find out in this video. Let's get started. Welcome, friends, to my St. Petersburg apartment room tour. Come on in. You should know, guys, today in the video I'll show you what it's like to live here in Russia, what you pay for it, what's life like under the sanctions. And we have a special guest with Anna behind the camera who will also share a bit with you. But yes, I've been living here for several months already. You haven't noticed because I was in the south of the country, in Russia. That's where the videos from the last few weeks came from. Now you can see how I've lived here the past few months. Here, guys, this is my bedroom. Very bright, spacious, and then you can already step out onto the balcony. As you can see, I have a nice neighborhood. It can be annoying at times with occasional noise, but honestly, I rarely hear anything. And yeah, guys, about 80 square meters, and then you also have a big storage room. Guys, let me show you. It's basically a personal wardrobe. You could put everything in here and have your own personal wardrobe, though I don't have anything in it right now. Let's continue. You have a small bathroom. Anna, show us. I'll go in. You see, it's relatively small but nice, I would say. Everything is very stylish, in my opinion, modern. I could easily live here for a few months. It's my first real apartment. Before this, I only stayed in student dorms or small shared places. I've never had so much space. That was pretty cool, finally being able to move around a bit more freely. Okay guys, the apartment even has a small living room. I have to say, that's something. I spend 80% of my time here on the couch. When I'm in the apartment, I'm always here, lying down. Exactly, that's usually how I work, lying here. And what can I say, guys, you know? I actually used the television once because I always watch things on my laptop. And everything is very, very bright. I have to say that. I never really do these room tours, guys, so I'm not exactly sure what to say. Now comes the highlight of the whole apartment, and that's the huge kitchen. Guys, imagine for years I cooked on a stove like that in the dorm. And finally, here you have, I don't know, 10 cabinets and a huge countertop where you can work. So I cook here every day, or at least, yeah, I prepare breakfast here at the very least. And yeah, guys, this is the kitchen. You also have a dining table, but I have to say I actually never use it. I also eat on the couch. It's good to have 4 chairs here when you have guests. You can enjoy a good meal here with friends. This is almost the last room, guys. There's another storage room, but it only has things like an ironing board, my suitcases, and so on. Okay, guys, now you've seen the apartment. Anna has seen the apartment. Now I want to ask the first question. I spoke in Russian because I prefer to practice my stories in Russian. Go on, but you, as a Russian, what do you think I pay for this apartment?
Actually, the apartment is in the city center, very close to the subway, which is a plus. It's about a 15-minute walk to the subway.
That already adds to the apartment's value. Plus, the apartment is quite spacious. There's a separate living room, a separate bedroom, a large walk-in closet, and storage like this in the kitchen. Yes, Yeah, I knew it. I knew.
And I think it could be 1,060 to 70,000 euros.
Ah, right.
Right.
I recognized you.
No, you didn't say.
That's 65,000, but I thought that was a good number. You would say that's a normal number for an apartment like that, or is that more common?
I think the price is good, it's reasonable, because it's a very convenient location, plus it has a nice basic renovation. Very often in the city center, you can find apartments with that old-fashioned grandma-style renovation. Everything that's left from the Soviet era in the 90s with that kind of so-so renovation, there are a lot of those options, and people don't like to rent them.
That's why people are looking for something in a minimalist style so they can adapt it to their own taste or so that it's already basically comfortable to live in.
That's why I think it's a good thing.
So guys, I paid 65,000, which means that's about 700 euros. I would estimate, yeah, about 700 euros. Apparently that's a relatively normal price. I even thought I got a real bargain, to be honest, because you have 80 square meters here, right in the center, but apparently that's the usual price in St. Petersburg. Cool, definitely that she guessed it right, but that also shows you that you can live here relatively inexpensively. In Germany, 80 square meters for 700 euros in the center is likely only possible in East Germany, not in major Western cities. If you rent a 30 square meter studio now, you'll likely pay 300 to 400 euros a month. Interestingly, in St. Petersburg, a city of 6 million each district feels like its own city. My neighborhood is actually a small city itself. So, you see, there are a lot of apartments here and already a playground for small children and families. Let me show you what I mean by a city within a city. Let's check out my blog now. We've walked 2 more minutes, so I can explain what I mean. Here on the left side, there's a coffee shop right away, and there are shops where you can buy chocolate. Everything is closed here, it's already afternoon, so let's go this way. But I drink coffee here every single morning, every single one. They serve iced coffee here, so if you visit, support coffee. It's recommended.
Before I tell you a bit more about my neighborhood,
I want to make one thing clear, and that's, guys, no, I didn't move to Russia. I have a 3-month tourist visa and I've spent most of the time in this apartment, a little over 2 months. I wanted to make this video since it's my first time moving into a real apartment. And I think it's interesting to show what my daily life in Russia looks like. I mean, there's Georgian food, but I've actually never been there in person. There are also things like barber shops. You can go get a haircut here, for men, I mean. There are all sorts of everyday things you just need. There are also a lot of cafes, and this one is one of Anna's favorite cafes. That's why we went in there right away. First, cheers.
that's not German.
Cheers, cheers, cheers. About half a year ago, we shot a video together when she was living in Khabarovsk. Maybe you remember the video, the really loyal viewers. But now she has moved to St. Petersburg. And I want to ask, what are the differences between Khabarovsk and St. Petersburg? And where is it better to live? How are you? Why did you come here? Maybe something you hear, that you hear here, that you hear here?
Life in the Far East differs greatly from St. Petersburg.
Here in St. Petersburg, there are a lot of people living, there's a lot of activity, events happening, cultural moments of some kind, and of course that's more interesting. Life here is bustling.
In Khabarovsk, life is happening too, but not on such a scale.
People tend to go out to events less. They lead a less active social life, but of course they have it too.
As for the appearance of the city, of course, St. Petersburg looks very beautiful with all its historic buildings.
In Khabarovsk, there are 3 main streets that look decent. The rest of the city just looks like a regular city. A city where people live, nothing special. So visually, of course, yes, it's nicer here.
Timeline. At this point, it's a good time to pause the interview with Anna for a moment, because I want to show you what she was just talking about in the interview, the beauty of St. Petersburg. I want to show you part of my daily walk to the city center, share the architecture's beauty, and cover various topics in the video. So I'll show you my apartment, my daily life, give you a bit of insight from a local, so today it's a little mix of topics. But that's exactly why I'm going to show you my daily walk into the city center now. The first 10 minutes of my walk are never really special, because I have to walk to the metro station first. But it's nice here too. In just a 10-minute walk to the metro, you pass monuments and churches. So even the way to the metro is always quite nice. On the way to the city center or metro station, there's a beautiful park where I like to rest in the evening or sometimes sit for half an hour over the years. And yes, it's really beautiful, really clean. The atmosphere here is great. Now it's already gotten a bit colder, but 2 months ago this place was still full. People were reading, relaxing by the lake, and so on. Only a few people remain sitting on the grass. One more positive thing to mention is that there is a 0% hello dog spawn rate. No, just kidding guys, but honestly that's something positive to note. 6 million people, a huge city, yet parks like this feel like a peaceful, clean, small town. That's really crazy when we compare it. Berlin, this place is twice as big as Berlin. But in Berlin, there are already some parks that people tend to avoid, which are also rather dirty. Now let's focus on Berlin. Not federal politics, but its roadsides, sidewalks, and parks. Because anyone who goes around there knows that in many parts of the capital, it's not really nice and clean anymore. Discarded cups and packaging are piling up, and mountains of bulky waste are growing. The city plans to crack down harder on littering, including raising fines. Berliners, join in and share your recommended parks in the comments. I know Görlitzer Park isn't the only place, folks. Angel Charlotte's nid for this fun moti, go with her. That's also something special. Folks, here in St. Petersburg, a lot of young people perform plays or recite poems by old Russian poets and so on. At first I thought it was odd since they just shout random words. But I think it's because I don't know the language well enough yet to understand these old-fashioned words. But in itself, of course, it sounds cool that they are engaging culturally. We are active. Also, the metro costs you 80 cents and you immediately see beautiful murals and so on. Yeah, that's cool. A fairly cheap transport system. You can see, of course, how crowded it is here. It's really packed, especially around rush hour. What can you do? It's stuffy and crowded, but you have to mention the downsides. Otherwise, it's wonderful. One quick thing before we continue. Guys, this channel has about 90,000 subscribers. I'd really appreciate your help reaching 100,000 this year. So go ahead and hit subscribe now and help me achieve one of my lifelong dreams. We're almost at this milestone. And yeah, it would be awesome to reach that this year. We'll hit those measly 10,000 this year too. Guys, thank you, and let's keep going. Here it's street musician after street musician after street musician in the center. I think at this time of year, domestic tourism is crazy here in the city, because it's not normal how busy it is here. How many strange, blooming animals like the ones you can find here on the left and so on are around now. Currently the central street is being redone, so there are no cars and people are walking everywhere. Actually, it's pretty cool to see. The asphalt has been redone. It's usually always very crowded, but I've never seen it this crowded before. And I've never seen so many music acts at once either. So, I didn't walk around to show you this. This is all within a radius of 50, 60 meters, well, okay, let's say within a radius of 200 meters, 6 concerts. Some people like that, some people don't. I like things like this, I see it as free entertainment, but I also have a friend who says it annoys him that there are so many street musicians here. I wanted to show you that. Now let's continue talking with Anna. Music. Where do you get more for your money? That's definitely an interesting question, and I think probably here. But let's see what Anna says. Music.
In this regard, it's also better in St. Petersburg because things are cheaper here, groceries are cheaper here.
In Khabarovsk and in the Far East in general, in all the other cities, Vladivostok, Blagoveshchensk, Khabarovsk, it's very expensive to buy groceries everywhere because the prices are higher. It's about 10, 20, sometimes even 30% music.
I find it interesting because I think nobody thinks it's like that. Music. Everyone thinks that Moscow and St. Petersburg are the most expensive, but it's interesting to find out that it's not like that. Music.
Economic changes worldwide have made life more expensive everywhere. Living costs have risen in Russia, including St. Petersburg, Khabarovsk, and all cities. Prices for housing, food, utilities, for everything have gone up, absolutely everything. This is noticeable, and unfortunately, people somehow have to live with it. At the same time, overall salaries have increased, but not by much. Salaries have mostly gone up just a little, while prices, of course, have risen much more.
What do you think is the biggest nonsense about traveling, or what would you say?
Probably, yes, probably something related to traveling.
The ability to pay for something online or in another country with a bank card, because if you go somewhere, you have to worry about cash. So, yes, probably just some small inconveniences like that, but honestly, mostly it's just some kind of psychological pressure from the fact that there are sanctions.
People can usually adapt to anything. Music.
Those were some quick questions. Someone needs to decide now. Yeah, exactly. I think we've already answered some interesting questions. How much does it cost to live here? It's gotten more expensive. Guys, did you see how much an apartment costs in the center? And yeah, those were basically the main questions.
Feel free to ask more questions in the comments if we haven't answered everything yet. Guys, let's keep going for now.
In this video, where I showed my apartment and daily life in St. Petersburg, I also included the place I regularly work out. And in my opinion, this is one of the best, if not the best, outdoor sports grounds I have ever seen in my life. First, you have a large table tennis area, and then it gets even better. You have a calisthenics park, but it's not a usual calisthenics park, because there are weights everywhere here, and that's what makes this calisthenics park special. You see, people are working out on the machines with weights, you can see it, and it doesn't stop, guys, it just keeps going and going. There are hundreds or even thousands of machines here. And no matter what you want to train, whether it's shoulders, triceps, chest, everything is here in extremely high quality. You have both a table tennis facility and a full boxing squad for training. You even have machines for arm wrestling. You can arm wrestle with friends here. I'd even say this outdoor gym is better than the one at Venice Beach. I was at Venice Beach, I saw it with my own eyes, and I saw this here with my own eyes. The cool thing is that after such a successful workout, you can go swimming and refresh yourself. People are swimming and playing volleyball on the beach. And just walking along the pier here is really beautiful too. I honestly think that St. Petersburg should actually pay me for all the advertising I've been doing for this city for over 5 years. For 5 years I've been telling people that this city is an absolute insider tip when it comes to quality of life. Yeah guys. Unfortunately this place is a bit remote. It's located on Krestovsky Island, Ostrov Krestovsky Ostrov, which is one of the islands here that is right in St. Petersburg. It's 5 kilometers, 40 minutes from downtown. But on the weekend or so, it's definitely worth a trip. I'll write the address here on the screen for those of you who want to train here. You get a glimpse of my daily life. I have my own area where I spend most of my time, plus the center. And then, whenever I have time, I go a little further out. Just a 30 to 40 minute tram ride takes you to places like this, especially amazing in summer when it's 30 degrees. Thanks again from downtown. Hope you enjoyed the video and chat with Anna. If you did, make sure to subscribe. Like I said, let's hit 100,000 together this year. I'd be really happy. We're so close. And yeah, otherwise tune in again next week. Until then, bye.